Hello guys, so in this tutorial we're going to be creating maps switching. So we're going to switch between night mode and day or light mode. So we have light mode. When you get out of dark mode, you go to the light mode. So this is what we're going to be building today. Stay tuned. So guys, we're going to in this tutorial we're going to create a switch for dark mode and light mode. So in our previous tutorials, we created this uh, map layer switching where you can switch between satellite, terrain, and default. You can also switch between traffic layers. You can also get driving layers and so on. So in this tutorial, we're going to look at how to switch this map from this light map to dark mode. So that is what we're going to do in this tutorial. So to get started, we need to get some toggle switch here that we're going to be switching between dark mode and light mode. So let's go to Bootstrap. So let's say get Bootstrap, get bootstrap.com. Let's go to the Bootstrap website and let's go to the docs and let's search for toggle. Let's say toggle. And it's not what we want. Let's just say switch. Switch to all we just need. Okay, we have this switch, but that's not what we need right now. We need something like how do we call this? These are like radio buttons and stuff. So let's see forms. Let's check some. Let's see some form controls. Okay. Select, check, and radius. Okay, radius. So let's see these ones. Disabled. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. So let's just grab this. So let's grab the first one. We only need the first one. Let's go to our code. Let's go to our control. Let's go to our control.html. So this is what we created the last time. So let's just close it. Okay. So let's create one dot empty for that's a margin top. Let's paste and let's refresh. Okay, so we have this. Okay, nice. So let's try to make it go top MT5. Say MT5. Seems like this didn't work. So let's inspect. So MT5. Okay, it didn't really work. So let's give it to this to see. Okay, okay. So MT5 works with this. Okay. And we want to switch. We want input to come to the right instead of the left. So This will be okay. So let's say uh view. What how do we call it? We say view or dark mode. Okay, so it's a dark mode. Refresh. And okay, so we have dark mode. We want this to the right side. Why is it still on the left? Okay, so let's check our Bootstrap if we have some of them like that. Okay, let's just use it like that. I wanted this toggle to come to the right, but it seems there is going to be a little bit of a problem. Let's see if we can do some magic CSS. So let's say let's grab this and put it in here. Let's see. Okay. So what we can do is we can remove this for now. We can remove this margin top for now. And let's give it, let's say this is display inline. And this is also display line. And let's give this a margin button. So let's just, this is just some CSS we're trying to say margin button for. Okay. And let's try to float this to the right. So float right. Great. And yeah, so I think it will work like this. So what we need to do is let's grab this. First we need to remove this margin top 5. Need to remove this. And let's just create some tag, empty tag. Let's give it a class. And say empty4. Next we need is to give these two display inline. So let's go to the class and class, let's say D inline. Let's display inline. Next thing we need is, I think we've already done with the margins, float. Okay, so we need to float this to the right. So let's give it some style. Let's say float. Let's say right. Let's refresh. And let's see what we have. Okay. Okay, so we have this, but it has to be in line. So let's check some few stuff. So this is not really working. So let's give it to the top. So let's give it to this. Let's say margin button 5. And let's remove this. Okay. This is still going down. So let's see what's going on. So this is a block. So what we do is let's set it to inline. So display inline. Great. And it gets into the same line with that. So let's just give it display inline. So the line. Great. So app dark mode. So let's just add some few text. Great. So let's just say app dark mode to be able to listen to just a text, a label text. The next thing we need is to listen to this. Okay. So once user clicks, we need to listen whether the user have toggled on or off. So that's what we need to do right now. So let's go to our code. And you see we have some role, we have some type, we have some IDs. Okay. So let's see some classes. Now we have flex switch box default. So we're going to grab this and we're going to go to our JavaScript. We're going to go to our JavaScript control.js and let's say dark mode. Okay, so first we need to listen to the click. So jQuery click ID. Listen to the click. So listen to the click. Okay, it's not going to be a click. It's going to be a change, right? So this is a toggle. Just a click. It's a toggle. So we're going to listen to the change of this toggle. First thing we're going to do is let's listen whether it's actually working. So let's just log it. Say change and let's refresh. Let's come to console. Let's open and let's clean our console and let's switch. Okay, so it's not working. All right, it is not working. Why? Because we came back from the last tutorial, so we need to clear our cache. That's the first thing you need to do when you have errors running your code. So let's try it again, and it's working. Okay, so we see it. So let's clean it. It says changed. Okay, now we know we are changing it. Now we need to see, we need to understand, or we need to like check whether we are going on or off. We need to check whether we're going on or off. So the first thing we're going to do is to use the jQuery check function to identify whether this is checked. So let's say if this, so we say jQuery is, okay, you're going to use the is. So let's just go directly. So if I say this, it means whatever ID that we've selected. Okay, that's what we mean with this. If this dot is checked, so we say is, and we check if it has this attribute called checked. So if it's checked, we're going to log this is checked. Okay, else we're going to log check off. Okay, so let's run our page and let's click. Let's clean this. Let's click. Now it says this is checked. Okay, when you close it, it says check is off, right? This is checked. check is off. This is check. Check is off. Great. So now we're able to see when we are checked and when we are off. The next thing we need is to change the value or change our map anytime that our value changes. Okay, we need to change our map every time that our value changes or the value of this checkbox changes. We need to change our map. In order to change our map, we're going to use, because we're using traditional JavaScript and not like something like React JavaScript or those other JavaScripts, we are going to use the page refresh to kind of change the look of our map, but we're going to have the same effect because we are having our data from the database and all those stuff. So we've covered all of those. So instead of login, what we're going to do is, if it's checked, we're going to refresh the page. Okay, we're going to refresh the page. We're going to say window dot the window dot location. Okay, dot href is equal to. So we are going to change the URL. Okay, so control dot. So we're going to change one thing. We're going to change is we're going to change the HTML to PHP because we're going to write some small PHP code to change some things in the map, like in our HTML page. So this HTML, we're going to change it to PHP in order to change to add some few PHP code to control some stuff. We'll get there. So we say control.php. Now, when this is checked, it means we have activated dark mode, right? If it's checked, it means we want dark mode. So if it's checked, it goes to control.php and we set map is equal to night. Okay, we set map is equal to night, and that is it. So we copy it and we replace it here. Instead of map is equal to night, we say map is equal to default. Okay, map is equal to default. Great. This is what we have. Now let's change this to .php. So let's rename it. Let's change it to .php. Great. Now let's come here and let's change it from HTML to PHP. Great. So everything works fine. Now let's change the map. Let's turn it on. Now once we turn it on, we get back to our map. Okay. The map loads, everything loads, nothing changes. But when you look at the URL, we have map is equal to night. Okay. Map is equal to night. Now on when you click on the layers again and you click again, it you see we have the night, but this is not checked. Okay, it's supposed to be checked because we have night. So we need to write an extra line of code to make sure that anytime we have night, this will be checked by default. Okay, this will be checked by default. So let's write that PHP code that is going to do that job. So inside our input, inside our toggle, let's just put our cursor in any space, right? You can put it here, you can put it here. So let's just put it here. Let's just come down. In here, when we say checked, when we put checked and we refresh our page, we're going to see that that toggle is going to be checked by default. You see that it's checked, but we don't want it to be checked all the time. We want to check it only when the map is equal to night. Okay, so what are we going to do? So let's clean this and let's open our PHP. So this is a few PHP line that we just need. So we say PHP, say if get. So we're getting the URL if get map. Okay, is equal to night. Okay, if map is equal to night, what should happen? Echo checked. So if map is equal to night, it should echo checked. All right. So first we say if it's set, okay, if it's set, dollar underscore get. So let's say dollar underscore get. So if it's set map, if this is set and map is equal to night, it should echo checked. Okay, so this is all we need. Let's refresh our page and let's click this and you see it's checked. Now let's check it. Let's take it back to default. Now you see this is default. This is now default. So let's click it and it's not checked because the map is not equal to night, it's equal to default. So in this code is not going to run. So we are able to control the check-in from here directly using our URLs. This is great. So the next thing we're going to do is once we have this URL, how do we have to collect this URL data and use it in identifying the map that we want to display. Okay, we use it to identify the kind of map that we want to display. So let's go back to our controls. Now let's go to the top. Now let's come here. This is where we are creating our map. Okay, this is where we are creating our map. So if this is where we are creating our map, we need, what do we need? So we need to get the type of map that we're displaying before we even run this code, right? So how do we get that? So let's just say get map, get map type. Okay, in the map type, what do we need? Let's just say let's load our URL first. Let's collect our URL data. So let's say current URL. So we create a variable, we call it const. Create a current URL variable, and it's a constant, and it's equal to window dot location dot href. Okay, so when you say window dot location dot href, it means you are collecting, you are grabbing the URL, you are grabbing the URL. Okay, you are grabbing the URL from here. That's what you want to get. But if you want to change the URL, that is when you set an equal to actually change it with the new code that you want, with the new URL that you want. So first, now that we have our URL, we need to break the URL into two. You see, this is a long URL. From here to here, from the localhost to control.php question mark, that is one part. And the next part is called the parameters. So we need to break the map into two to get our parameters only from what we have. So let's create a variable const, let's call it URL parameters. So let's say params is equal to new URL, and inside that URL we put our variable current URL. So we say new URL, this is the URL. So what do we want to do with this? So we say dot search params. Okay, search the parameters. Now let's log the parameters that we have. So URL parameters. Now let's go here, let's refresh our page, and now look at our URL parameters. This is our URL parameters. Let's look at it. Okay, so we have the object of the URL parameters. Now what we need to get is we need to get some few stuff first. Now we need to get this map and its value. So how do we get that? We need to get the map and its value. So to get that, let's go back Let's go back to our page, and let's say our style. So let's grab our style. So let's say const map style. Okay, map style is equal to, now that we have a URL parameters object, let's grab our data from there. So URL params dot get. So what is the name of the key that we're looking for? We're looking for something called map. Okay, we're looking for this map. So we don't know what is the value of this map, but once we get the map, it automatically brings us the value. Okay, so let's log our map style, and refresh our page. Now let's see if we have our map style. Good. So we have our map style to be default. Okay, so let's change it to night. Now our map style changes to night. Great. So this is our map style. Let's close it. Now that we have our map style to be night or default, now we can choose the kind of map ID that we want to use. Okay, we can choose the map ID that we want to use for this particular what program. Now inside this Google Maps, you can only use Google key value pairs. You can only use the predefined elements to do this. You cannot create a variable inside here. It won't work. So what we need to do is we need to use if statement. So if map style equal to night. Okay. If map style is equal to night, we have a map that we're going to display, else we have another map that we're going to display. Okay, so if map style is equal to night, then we have something to display. So let's go to our console to see what we're going to display. So let's go to our console, Google Cloud, to manage our maps. So to do that, we first go to map management, or map styles for the short. So you go to map styles. Now you see there is a travel map, tutorial map, night 2, and night mode. These are the some of the stuff that I have created. So you click create new style. Once you click create new style, I already have night style. So you click on either night or dark. There is these two. So let's just assume you want to go with dark. So you click dark. All you need to do is you click save. Okay, so let's click save. You give it a name. Let's call this tutorial. Let's save it. It saved successfully. Once you create a tutorial, you need to link it to a map ID. Okay, so you say add map ID, but we don't have a map ID here. So you come to map management. You click on create map ID. So we create a new map ID. We call it new tutorial. New tutorial. Okay, map style. We say JavaScript. You say vector, and you enable tilt and rotation, and then you save it. So once we have our map ID, all we need to do is to copy this map ID. Come here and let's just paste it here. We'll come and work on it later. So let's come back and let's come to our map style again. Then you click on the tutorial that you just created. Then you click add map ID. So we need to connect this map style to a specific map ID. So we connect it with new tutorial. This is what we just created. Then you save it. So once you save it, we have new tutorial, this map ID connected to this map, and that is all that we need. So once we have it, we have this ID. So this ID is for our night mode, and this ID is the default one, which is for our normal travel map. So what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this and paste it here, and then copy this map ID and replace it with this. Replace it with that. Okay, let's copy this. Let's just cut and let's paste it here. Great. So we have if map is equal to style is equal to night, only this could run. This one won't run. And if it's not equal to night, this is the only one that is going to run. It's just the same thing. We just have two different IDs that is going to load the type of map that we want. So let's refresh our page and let's see if this works. Great. So you see the map is night. So you see that the map is night over here. That's why we have our night map. So let's change it to default. Let's switch it back. The page loads and this map changes to default. And now we have the light map nicely. And once we change this to night, it changes by default. It changes for us. So this is how we switch between night mode and default or day mode or like light mode. So dark mode and light mode. Okay. So in our next series, we're going to be looking at how to build advanced markers. Okay. So we have these markers where we want to build a more advanced markers that when you click, you don't just have these data, you have real data that pops out, very nice content. So that is going to be our next tutorial. We're going to have a complete advanced marker series, which will cover how to build nice maps, nice markers. So let me show you an example of what I'm talking about. So let me show you an example. Just log in. Okay. So you see this kind of maps. This is a 3D pole that we have on our map. Okay. So this is a 3D pole. So this is something that we're going to be creating in our next series. Okay. So we're going to be putting 3D poles on the maps, and we're going to be building content. These are HTML content that you can put into these. And when you click on it, you see when you click, you have these nice content viewers, and some of them too. Let's go to mobile view. Some of them, when you click, you have this nice Android style modals. So, for example, with this, when you click, see you have this nice Android style modal. You click to get directions, it takes you to a new page to get the directions, and it starts from your current location to that particular location. So it's automatically gives you direction from that point to the other point. And we have these. When you click, it gives you nice pop-ups. So these are some of the stuffs that we're going to be building. So if not subscribed to this channel, please do, and take care.